Every day, millions of people pull a jar from the pantry, check the little black stamp on the glass, and toss it in the trash. We throw away roughly 40 million tons of food in the United States alone every year. A massive portion of that is perfectly edible, shelf-stable dry goods, tossed out simply because the arbitrary factory date on the packaging passed. The irony is that while we meticulously purge harmless oats and rice based on a meaningless timeline, we unknowingly keep actively lethal, invisible hazards sitting in jars right next to them. The confusion comes from mixing up two completely different metrics, food quality and food safety. Quality is just a measure of taste and texture fading over time, a harmless process. Safety is a matter of biology, specifically the dangerous colonization of bacteria. If you want to stop wasting groceries and actually protect yourself, you have to look past the ink stamp and understand the invisible chemical environments operating inside those containers. The first category of eternal pantry items rely on biological stasis. We can call foods like white rice and dried beans the moisture starvers. Microbes require moisture to power cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is the metabolic process cells use to convert nutrients into energy. In an environment with absolute zero free water, that process stops completely. Incoming bacteria simply dehydrate and die. The second category of immortal foods are the osmotic shields, items like honey, salt, and sugar. These use a significantly more violent method of preservation. This diagram shows a cross-section of a sugar matrix engaging in osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. When bacteria land in extreme sugar or sodium concentrations, the environment forcefully sucks the water right out of the invading cell. This sudden osmotic shock destroys the bacteria instantly. It physically guarantees the environment remains perpetually sterile, often for decades. The final class of stasis foods are acidic fortresses, consisting of items like pure white vinegar. A severely low pH environment operates like a chemical weapon. The high concentration of hydrogen ions physically dissolves and destroys bacterial cell walls upon immediate contact. These 10 pantry staples, the starvers, the shields, and the fortresses, survive indefinitely because their physical environments are chemically hostile to the microscopic life required for decay. But that same chemistry works in reverse. There are 3 common foods that silently transform into lethal hazards under the wrong conditions. The first threat comes from anaerobic environments, spaces completely lacking oxygen. Homemade garlic infused in oil is a perfect example of a dangerous low-acid trap. This diagram illustrates how the oil creates a physical barrier at the surface, blocking oxygen. That oxygen-free zone below is the exact breeding ground required for Clostridium botulinum spores to wake from dormancy and multiply rapidly. The hazard here is that this specific pathogen produces a potent neurotoxin as it reproduces. That toxin is completely invisible, odorless, and tasteless. The second hazard is the chemical degradation found in specialty nut oils. Prolonged exposure to ambient light and air oxidizes their delicate fatty acids, degrading the molecules and resulting in toxic rancidity. The final hazard involves highly acidic canned goods, like tomatoes, that have been severely dented or compromised on the store shelf. This diagram shows the interior wall of a dented can. The physical impact cracks the thin protective polymer lining inside. Once breached, the highly acidic food reacts directly with the steel casing, leaching microscopic heavy metals straight into your meal. Garlic and oil, rancid nut oils, and dented acidic cans are deadly because their degradation happens entirely at a molecular level. They successfully bypass our human evolutionary defenses of smell and taste. True food safety is governed strictly by the laws of biology and chemistry, not by the packaging plant. Food only becomes dangerous if it provides a hospitable environment for microbial life to thrive, or if its chemical bonds begin to shatter. Performing a reliable safety audit of your kitchen requires you to look at your inventory and actively identify which specific jars harbor moisture, low acidity, and zero oxygen. This scientific approach to food storage stands in stark contrast to the blind trust consumers place in factory expiration dates. To guarantee safety and eliminate waste in your kitchen, you have to look past the calendar. You have to learn to read the chemistry.